Resident Evil 4's remake launched in 2023 to amazing reception, and while we thought things were wrapping up in terms of content, with the Separate Ways DLC launching not too long ago, it seems we still have more to get from Capcom for the 2023 remake. Recently we had a little bit of a leak in the form of a slip up by Metacritic where they posted the Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition onto their website, while also leaking its release date. And that release date was scheduled for February the 9th of 2024. And while this date could move, it is pretty interesting to see that Capcom are deciding to make a gold edition for this game, as we didn't get to see one for Resident Evil 3, which was their last remake. And if you're unsure of what a gold edition is, it's basically the Resident Evil game late into its life cycle, and it bundles together all of its DLC and generally adds a bit of extra content onto the side. I feel like this does make sense. They would make a bit more content and bundle it all together for Resident Evil 4, as it did so well, especially in contrast to RE3's remake, where they low-key discontinued it after the poor reception that the game received, even though the director's cut concept seemed like it could have redeemed the title, which I still stand by. If they made a Resident Evil 3 remake director's cut, where they went over, added all the content that they cut from the original back into the game, and kind of just fleshed out the story a bit better, I feel like that's definitely something that would make a decent chunk of money for Capcom, but I can see how it isn't exactly a safe option for them to invest resources into. But without straying too far on a tangent, let's get back on the Resident Evil 4 rumoured Gold Edition. So what could we expect to see from this Gold Edition? As I said, all DLC will be bundled into this. That's a given, as that is always the case with every Resident Evil game that's done this prior. It will obviously come with all the title updates that the game's received, so all the patches and all of that other goodness that is already present on everyone's copies that we already have access to. As for new DLC, I can't expect them to add anything as big as Separate Ways. A lot of people have mentioned Operation Javier as one of the DLCs that could be added with the Gold Edition. This is probably highly unlikely, given how much resources would have to be invested into this if they wanted to make it very good and fleshed out and worth an additional story campaign. But you never know, this could be in the cards, but I wouldn't get your hopes too high for this, as the Gold Edition is usually like a nice little wrap up at the end of a game's life cycle, in the Resident Evil lineup at least. It generally isn't bundled with a big DLC. I would say it's pretty safe to assume that we would also get all of the Deluxe Edition content bundled into this Gold Edition as well. As for new content, I think it's pretty likely that we will see some new costumes at the very least, as that is generally the case with the Gold Edition, where they add a lot of sprinkles of content, not anything full-blown, fleshed out, like a Separate Ways DLC. They could maybe add a new Mercenaries map. I don't see that being too far-fetched, as that is something they could easily just take from the campaign and just change the surroundings a bit so it's more blocked off for a mercenary style of mode. Or they could even add a new mode, potentially an assignment Ada, if they wanted to bring that back, as I don't think that would be too hard, as it does recycle a lot of assets already in the game. So that could be a potential addition, as it was in the original as well, so that would make sense. I have seen a few comments here and there as well mentioning a potential mode where you play as Ashley, and it's like a game of hide and seek with the villagers, and you need to reach a certain destination or survive for a certain amount of time, similar to Mercenaries, except you're less on the offensive and more on the defensive, and not as lethal as the other characters in the game where you would usually be playing as them in Mercenaries. But of course, this is all just speculation, so definitely drop down below what you guys would like to see. And the last thing that I think definitely should be added, and I think it would make sense, is the PRL 412 or 412, whatever you want to call it, 412. This is the laser gun from the original, where you charge it up and it absolutely just kills everything in the vicinity because it looks for Plaga, and if you tap fire it, it would act as a flashbang. It was extremely overpowered, as you would expect, but I think they could maybe add an additional difficulty to Resident Evil 4's remake, and if you do that, if you complete that, then you get this weapon. But I have faith in Capcom that they will probably, if they do add this back in, they will get the right type of challenge for the player to acquire this weapon. As always guys, be sure to drop a comment down below as to what you think of this rumour / leak and what you would hope to see in a Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition if it does actually come to fruition in early February of next year, and I look forward to reading all of your comments. Be sure to smash that like button if you did enjoy, it's extremely appreciated, it helps out the channel a ton, and be sure to subscribe for a lot more Resident Evil content. Don't forget to join our Discord, link is at the top of the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.